in the United States, Halloween is a big deal for some people. Do they even do stuff like that in Kenya or no?
I mean, like, there's definitely, like, we have a lot of expatriates and foreigners that come into Kenya, so they celebrate Halloween. And where I live, we celebrate Halloween, and we'll do, like, a house party, and we'll dress up. But we definitely are not trick-or-treating. No one is going door to door to ask for candy, because that's how you get kidnapped. Nobody does that. You know, that's not even a part of the culture at all. And for the most part, Halloween is kind of taboo. Do you know what I mean? It's a very religious society, so it's just not, it's not a big part of our culture. And neither is Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. It's not a huge part. Like, Christmas really is about what Christmas is supposed to be about. You know, so Santa's not at the forefront. The Easter Bunny's not at the forefront. You know, all these kind of faux, like, tells, like, it's just not at the forefront of things, you know.
Now, when you've been in the United States, have you ever participated in Halloween activities in the United States?
Yes, I have. And I've had some crazy Halloweens. This one time, I was in LA. We were on Hollywood Boulevard, which everybody who's been to Hollywood Boulevard knows that people already dress up anyway. Like, people are already, like, you know, there's the crazies, there's the entertainers, there's, like, Spider-Man's there, all the Wakanda crew's there, like, everybody's there. This is before Wakanda, though. But, like, I mean, you can pretty much expect anything on a regular day walking down Hollywood Boulevard. So on Halloween, they had this thing where everybody just walks up and down the strip and everybody's dressed up. It was the scariest experience because we didn't know who was real, who was fake. And, like, people were just standing in the cut. Like, I looked over and there was this guy with this bloody, like, trench, all white, like, and he freaked, let me tell you, he freaked all of us out. That was scary. There's people following us. And then apparently, like, as soon as we got done walking the strip, there was a shooting that took off. Somebody was killed. Like, this shit was extremely scary. Like, that was probably the craziest Halloween because, I mean, that whole shooting and everything was right up the street from where my friend lives. Right next to Hollywood Boulevard. But it was just freaky, man, because people, again, we just forgot that Hollywood Boulevard, it's already scary anyway. So, like, I mean, during Halloween, it's just too many vibes, like, at the same time. And yeah, that was crazy.
Do you personally like that holiday or no?
I like it because, I mean, I'm a person who loves to dress up. I love makeup, I love hair, I love costume, and I feel like it's a good time of year that you could just act out and just do whatever you want to do, just for that reason. But growing up, because, like, my parents are pastors, so I couldn't really, you know, dive into, like, the trick-or-treat thing, but we had, like, little activities in church. There's something that they had called Hallelujah Night, where all the kids would come out dressed in your costumes and they'd give us all candy. So it turned out to be cool anyway, because I still got to dress up and I still got my candy. And, like, there was just, like, cool little church activations around Halloween so, like, the youth wouldn't really feel left out. Like, there was this haunted house that I had gone to where you basically, like, there's, like, several different rooms, and they try to scare kids away from doing certain things, like, scare you away from gun violence. So, like, one room, it's like there's a gang fight going on. They're fighting, and then there's a shooting, and then we literally watch somebody get killed. Of course, it's fake, but this is all part of the Christian haunted house. And then we walk into the next room and it smells like weed, it smells like alcohol, and there's this guy, like, facing, like, the back of his head was facing us. And from nowhere, he picks up a gun and shoots himself in the mouth, and then, like, the water, like, it touched us, so it really felt like he blew his brains out, and his brains were, like, all over us. So it really tries to push you away from, like, doing drugs and being in, like, gang violence, but it's around Halloween. So, you know, there's, like, positive ways, or positive according to them, you know, but at the same time, like, it's kind of dangerous. I don't know. I don't really know if my kids were going to be raised in America, I'd have to go with them trick-or-treating. I'd have to, like, examine the candy, because you can't just be walking up to anybody's house and trust them with your child's life. Like, it's kind of crazy to me, but I like the dressing up aspect.
So that's I've never heard of that, but that's an educational haunted house.
Yes, it was. It was an educational haunted house. And it was kind of fun, man. Like, I actually remember it being, I was genuinely scared. After that, I didn't even want to, I was too young at the time to even know, like, what marijuana was. I didn't even know that that was the smell of marijuana. And it's so funny how they got it to smell like that. They burnt sage, like, sage is seasoning. If you put it on the stove, like, it smells just like weed. So don't try this at home, but try it if you want to.
So what were like some of the usual costumes you would see for a Hallelujah night? What are kids dressing up as?
Anything. There was no hoes back then. I mean, because we were young, so nobody was doing like the sexy cop or the, using Halloween as an excuse to be hoes. There was nothing like that, just different things. So, Spider-Man, Batman, Catwoman, just whoever. It was normally pretty clean though, because people were still kids, so.
Now, whether it was for Halloween or Hallelujah night, what costumes have you dressed up in the past as?
I have dressed up. The last time I dressed up, I was like some gypsy, and I had this face paint, and I really, really was like a gypsy in every sense of the word. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with like how gypsies look, but I did that. And then before then, I was a cholo, or is it a chula? I was a Mexican female gangster. That was really fun to do with the black lip liner and like buttoning the shirt up here, like leaving it open. That was super cool. What else have I been before then? That's all I can remember. I haven't actually dressed up that many times, but I think as a kid I probably just did like face paint.
Well, which one of those costumes received the most attention, good or bad?
Definitely the Mexican gangster. That went viral because I actually did that while I was in Kenya, and then we posted the pictures on Instagram, and there weren't too many people celebrating Halloween, so it just went viral. It was like Victoria Kimani celebrating Halloween in this outfit, and then they kept putting it next to when Rihanna dressed up as a is it cholo? I don't know what it's called, but when she dressed up chulo, yeah, when she dressed up as it, and they kind of like to compare American celebrities to African celebrities back home, so they just put our pictures side by side, and that was probably the most, the most attention I got.
I see.
For Halloween.
Is that the closest you've been to Rihanna?
That is the closest I've been to Rihanna, I mean, besides like, with the lip gloss, things like that. Yeah, I love her.
Has anyone ever dressed up as you before for Halloween? Or Hallelujah night?
No, not Hallelujah night. Not that I know of. I think people, not to sound crazy, they kind of try to dress up like me in real life anyway. Like, I mean, a lot of artists, like, we don't realize how influential we are. Like, we wear a certain outfit and then somebody sees the same thing in the store or something similar and they try to get the same exact thing. So I wouldn't say like for Halloween, but people have definitely dressed up like me in real life, just on a normal day.
When you did those costumes, were those, because I know when it comes to especially women, some women, they spend time planning stuff like this out. And then some women, it's just like a last minute spontaneous,
That's
maybe
me.
I wasn't going to do Halloween.
That's me.
Now I'm going to do it.
That's me. It was very spontaneous. I might plan it this year though. Like I might take the time and actually plan something cool, but every single other time it's been very spontaneous.
We spoke about the haunted house, the educational haunted house, right, for Hallelujah night. But have you ever been to like a haunted house in the United States for Halloween type of thing, or no, not yet?
No, and the Hallelujah night thing was actually in America.
Oh.
That wasn't back home.
Oh.
Again, that culture is not, it's not at the forefront at all.
Oh, okay.
But that was something we did out here. But no, I don't think I've been to any other haunted house. I heard there's like a trap haunted house in Atlanta, which I'd like to check out.
Oh, the 2 Chainz
yeah, I don't know if it's
theme?
T.I. or 2 Chainz or both of them, but I'd like to check it out.
2 Chainz, yeah.
2 Chainz?
13 haunted houses or something?
13 steps, something like that.
Yeah.
Floors.
13,
I'd like to check that out.
Maybe you're on the right track there. So you would be interested in checking. Now, there are different types of haunted houses out there. Okay, there's haunted houses that are like, probably spooky but not scary, Then there's haunted houses where you have to sign a waiver before you enter because something could happen to you health-wise. You might get so scared you could get a heart attack or
wow.
maybe bump somebody might scare you. You might, I don't know, hurt yourself or something of that nature.
Man.
You know when people try to jump and scare people?
Yeah. You know what, man? You gotta try everything at least one good time, man. Like, especially if it's something that's really scary, it's better for you to just overcome that fear. But yeah, I've never been in that type of haunted house. But although I did see something on the internet in New Orleans about actual haunted houses that you can like go have a tour and like the real ghosts like actually live there. It's not like the conceptualized haunted house.
Yeah, there are real locations where they've had real hauntings. And that was going to be my next question to you.
Yeah, I don't need to do all that.
You wouldn't do that.
I'll go into the fake one. You know, I don't really need to put myself around. You know, we have enough of that in Africa. So
with the waiver, you would do the one with the waiver.
I do the waiver. I mean, like I've done other life-threatening shit and had to sign a waiver, like bungee jumping. I jumped, not bungee, what am I saying? Skydiving. And I did it in Diani, Kenya. We did 12,000 feet. I jumped out of a plane, and that was by far the wildest thing ever. But yeah, I had to sign a waiver, and they told me, I was like, so what am I signing? They're like, well, yeah, just in case you die, you can't sue us. And I'm like, I wouldn't be able to sue you anyway because I'd be dead. Like, you know, so I've signed other, I figure if there's a waiver, then, you know, this is a controlled environment for the most part. I'm sure they don't want us to die. And if I had heart problems, I wouldn't do it, but.
Or pregnant.
Or pregnant. Yeah, I don't think I'd do that when I'm pregnant.
With the skydiving thing, I mean, we're sidetracking here, but every person that I've heard that skydive, they always say, I'd do it again.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd do it again, to be honest. I didn't like the initial, like the first 15 seconds of, I don't even, is that free fall? Like when you, like it's full speed. In fact, it was 40 seconds of full speed before the parachute came out. And I just felt like, what I will say that I feel like I can do anything. Because, you know, it's like skydiving kind of unleashes something in you that the one thing that you feel like you'll never be able to do, you've actually done it. So I feel like there was something like unlocked inside of me, but I don't really need to do that again.
And you were strapped to somebody,
yeah,
right?
I was strapped to somebody, and it's so crazy because like when we were going up, he was cracking jokes, and so I guess I just kind of blocked my mind from what I was about to do. And right at the last minute, we were sitting on the edge, our feet were about to basically dangling out, and I was like, I don't think I can, and then he just pushed me out. It was so horrible, oh my God. And I just remember closing my eyes, it was full speed, and there was another one who jumped, and they had like the, I don't know what you call it, it's a camera that was like on their helmet, the like GoPro.
GoPro, yeah.
Yeah, so they recorded the whole thing, and I think my reaction was so ugly, they didn't even bother sending me the video, so.
It sounds like you had a bad experience, maybe.
To be honest, it wasn't the best. When the parachute went up, it was better. And then I didn't know that you can control the speed of the parachute. So, you know, when he like kind of twisted it to go down, it was just the same feeling of jumping out of the plane again. And he just kept messing with me, man. I'm like, dude, like, let's just have a smooth landing and, you know, let's just be cool. But he just kept, are you ready? All right, let's go again. And, you know, he was just a daredevil, man. And then I heard that, I'm not going to tell you what I heard. So it was crazy. It was scary.
What about scary movies? Are you into stuff like that or no?
I used to be.
Horror movies.
I used to be. And then I started having like nightmares. And my mom is very religious. So she'll be like, whatever you, if like your brain and your eyes are like a computer, whatever you put in your disc is what's gonna appear on the screen, you know, and is what's gonna actually happen to you in real life. So it's like, why would you wanna purposefully inject fear into your system? So that's kind of just been like in the back of my head. I'm not a horror movie person. I like thrillers. I'll watch it if I'm like, you know, like with a group of friends, but I'm not about to download scary movies and like watch them alone. That's just, I'm still kind of scared of that.
What movie gave you a nightmare?
Oh my God, Freddy Krueger gave me a nightmare. those exorcist nightmares. Honestly, anything that's ever been scary. Even Get Out gave me nightmares. Like, nah, like I definitely had nightmares after Get Out. I don't like scary movies.
What was the scariest movie of all time in your opinion? Of all the scary movies you have seen?
I don't even know the name of it, but I will never forget the scene. It was a guy, he was with his family, and something happened to their tire. They had to pull over on the side of the road. And, you know, he's talking to his wife and his daughter in the back seat, like, don't worry, it's just a flat, I'll fix it. And as soon as he opened the door, wham, like a truck, like, ran over him, and, like, his guts were all over the floor. And then his daughter and his wife had to see that. And I don't even know the name of it, but I actually stopped the movie I don't want to watch anymore from that point. Like, I don't like to see death, you know, and I mean, you know, again, going back to my environment, like death is like, it's a very real thing. Like it's easy to be driving somewhere and then, you know, see an accident that hasn't been cleaned up yet. You see there's bodies on the road. That happened to me my last trip to South Africa. They didn't even put a sheet over this woman. She had been ran over and we're in traffic and her body's just right there, you know? So, you know, our police system and then the ambulance system is very, you know, it takes a little bit more time. It's not quite as instant as it is in America. So, yeah, I've definitely seen some things in real life. And so when I watch it, I just don't want to, you know, just watching movies and just like, I don't know. I don't really like blood.
Maybe somebody watching this can leave a comment as to what movie that was that you just described that scene from.
Sure. I won't be watching it though, but thanks for the comment.
Just curious though, you've seen like death in real life.
Yeah, a lot.
How realistic is it with the movies that depict death, with television shows that depict
it can
video games?
It can never be the same. It can never be the same. I mean, I've seen, the first time I was 14, I was in Nigeria with my parents. We were on a mission trip, and we were driving between a place called Benin City and Lagos. And on the side of the road, there was a big, huge bus accident, which was literally like the size of like a Greyhound bus. And approaching the accident, because we had seen that there was a bus that was involved in an accident, but before then we had seen like shoes, bags, and then as we got closer, I saw a leg. You know, like I saw someone literally cut in half. There's people hanging out the back of the bus. I looked at it and looked away. You know, I mean, I've definitely seen some pretty crazy shit back home. And then there was this other time, like we have these outdoor markets, like you know how you have supermarket, but a lot of ours are outdoor. So, you know, they're outside selling tomatoes and fish and different things outside. And there was a madman. He was someone who had he was mentally just not here anymore. And you can usually tell how they look because they're just very, very dirty, and you know their hair's horribly locked up and not in a good way. And they left his body there for like 3 days. Nobody touched his body, and there was kids jumping over him, getting onto their bus. Like it was like normal for there to be a dead body, and because he was crazy, like nobody came to claim him. And I think at the time, you know, it was like nobody's gonna touch it until someone comes to claim the body, but nobody claimed him. You know, so there was that. But it's so much more surreal when you see it in real life, and like, and even again, the last time, like I said, I was in South Africa, even just seeing, you know, this woman just laying on the floor. I don't know who this is, but it's very emotional. Like you cry. Nobody wants to see, you know, people dead. I guess some people could be used to that, you know, but I also think that bus accident, there could have been more to it. It kind of looked like the accident did happen, and then people came out at nighttime to probably rob the bus. Cause like, why were there, I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot. And, you know, I mean, if you're into, you know, like African religion and you're interested in stuff like that, definitely look up, you know, when people use bodies for like ritual purposes. So nobody really knows if it was just an accident or if it was like an imposed accident where, you know, they're using children or using people's body parts for like rituals. Like there's African religion is real. It really happens. So I don't know what kind of accident that was, but I definitely saw some pretty crazy stuff.
What about I understand the emotional stuff and the surreal stuff, but what about like the goriness of it? Is there a difference with movies and TV and video games and stuff that you've seen versus the real life stuff?
Yeah, like, I mean, both real life and movies, I look away. You know, even when I do see it on a glance, like I'm not the person who's gonna pull out their phone and be like, you know, and I'm not gonna just stare at it. Like I'll definitely see it, and then I'm literally going to look away, you know. And same thing with the movie. Like when it comes on, like I'm such a punk. The movie comes up, and I, you know, when a scary part comes up or like a really gory part, I always look away. Like I don't know, I just don't like it.
Speaking of death, what about ghosts?
Ghosts are, to me, I don't know if I believe in like the human spirit remaining on earth. That's just not what I was raised to believe. But I definitely believe in spirits and in angels and in demons. And I believe they're all in, you know, roaming around in earth. You know, I've definitely experienced, you know, crazy vibes, especially back home where things are just that much more real, you know. Yeah, I mean, it definitely, there's a spiritual realm. You know, I don't know that much about actual ghosts, like the spirit of a person staying behind and not having anywhere to go. But I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised if it was true.
Like paranormal activity, stuff like that. When you say you've seen spirit, I don't know if you've seen spirit. Is that what you said? You've seen spirits,
yeah,
or you just felt them?
You could feel. Sometimes you can hear. Yeah, I mean, haven't you ever seen someone that just goes from 0 to 100 real quick? Like that's a spirit. Like, you know, I mean, there's spirits of lust, there's spirit of pride, there's spirit of joy, there's spirit of love. Like there's so many different kinds of spirits, you know, that control people. There's people who have spirits of anger and they're just always mad. Like, why are you always mad? Like, that's a spirit, you know. You need to go get that checked out, you know, because we're not always supposed to be so angry. And, you know, different things can feed that spirit as well. And, you know, I believe in, you know, starving the negative things that could, you know, lead your spirit astray if you can, and feeding your spirit with positive things, because there's a lot of things that can make us angry. I mean, our childhood, there's different people who grew up with, you know, you never know how a person grew up, and they have every right to be angry, but if you harbor that, you know, you're allowing that spirit that person imposed on you to control you for the rest of your life. Like, you know, I don't want to sound like I'm preaching, but there's definitely a spiritual realm, man. Like, and it's different everywhere you go. Like, the vibe that I feel just in the continent, in Africa, like the vibe that I feel in South Africa is very different than what I feel in Kenya. It's different than what I feel in Nigeria. It's different, totally different from like Tanzania. Like everywhere has like a general overall spirit that kind of just seems to be like the popular, you know, like for instance, Tanzanians are vain. I do believe they have a spirit of vanity. Like they love themselves. And that vanity is something that we don't really have in Kenya. You know, we're completely opposite. We have different things. And, you know, just to bring it back here in America, you know, there's all kinds of overall spirits that I believe like kind of control people in Hollywood or in Miami or here in Atlanta. I'll tell you what, like when I come to Atlanta, it's like a heavy sexual spirit in the air. Like even on the radio, like everything's like super R. Kelly, love you down, freak you, bend you over backwards. And it's just kind of like a sexual air, like when I come to the A versus going to like some other places. New York, it's all hustle. Like it's just all, you know. And shortly after 9/11, I remember visiting New York and there was a lot of fear in the air. Like there was a spirit of fear, you know, and I felt that. But obviously everybody was freaked out because when there's a terrorist attack, I mean, we've had terrorist attacks in Kenya at Westgate Mall. Someone came in and shot up the mall. There was a lot of fear in the city after that. Nobody wanted to go to the mall. And they've reopened that mall now. They shut it down for a long time, and they reopen it, and people do not want to go to that mall because they have a spirit of, there's still that fear there. So, I mean, that's how I approach it. You know, not totally like with the ghost thing, but like spirits are real.
So not like paranormal activity, you see like a cup move by itself or something like that.
I mean, I've never seen that, but I mean, there's people that practice, you know, those things, and they can do things. I definitely know that people, you know, can possess the power to move things around in a room. You know, I've never seen it though. You know.
You've heard about it though.
Yeah, definitely.